Hi everybody, it's Sarah with the Windham Public Library, and this is June's Art Night In. This month we are going to learn how to press flowers and make bookmarks from the pressed flowers. In your kit, I have a non-heat laminating sheet, so it's like self-sealing. There'll be tassels for your bookmarks, and there will be mulberry paper, which is this paper right here. I'm going to try and hold it up so that you can see the difference between regular white paper and mulberry paper. Mulberry paper, as you can see, has it's a rice paper, and it has these like pigmented parts throughout it. So I thought what we could do is we could just start by talking about how we press flowers, because in your kits you will not have pressed flowers, but if you come to the class, which is on Monday, June 6th from 5:30 to 6:30, I will have pressed flowers available for the class. But I'll show you how to press flowers, and then I'll show you how to put it together in the bookmark. What we're going to do first is find this here is parchment paper, or wax paper, or tissue paper would work really well. And what you want to do is you want to grab flowers, and I'll show you how I got mine started. So this is my parchment paper right here, and I have a book that I love to press flowers in, and I'm going to show you one right now. And you would just lay it in between. Often I find that tweezers are helpful when dealing with flowers that are pressed or going to be pressed. So you would just take those flowers and you would lay them down as best as you possibly can and flatten them out the way that you'd like to see them, and then fold your paper over them, and then give them just another nice press, and then put them in a large book. This is just a handheld book that I use. It's small in size. I make sure that my flowers are not touching, otherwise they might stick together. You're going to slide it into the book, and then I will put a brick or a rock on it for, anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks is great for pressing flowers. So when they're done, you will take them out, and they should be fairly dry. If you don't wait long enough, they're going to be a little bit wet, which is fine. You can actually do this project with them wet too. And again, tweezers are helpful to keep you from having them stick to your fingers or from breaking them off. So how we're going to get started today is I'm just going to take some of these flowers that I have pressed that are from my garden. I also use like these types of green leaves that you find on yarrow plants. So I have some green leaves too. And let's see what else. I actually have to flip through my pages because I don't always use. This one's beautiful, so we'll use that one. I don't always use parchment paper for mine, and I should, but a lot of times I'm just collecting flowers on a whim when I see them, and asking my neighbors if they let me pick the tops of their flowers off so that I can also press them. All right, so there we have a couple of flowers. The other thing that you can press too is like 4-leaf clovers or 3-leaf clovers. You can press small leaves. Anything that's going to be really, really thick is going to be hard to press, but if you don't mind giving it some time, this is probably the thickest one. This had like a really large, heavy middle pollen section, and it was probably the thickest one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my mulberry paper and I'm going to cut it whatever shape I want my bookmark to be. I'm going to choose this kind of oval shape, but you can do the standard just straight rectangle, and then I'm going to just start designing how I want my pieces to lie on my mulberry sheet. You can lay them down with a bit of with a dab of glue if you want to, just a very small amount, but it's not definitely not necessary. You can layer. I think I encourage layering. And then the other thing too is you don't want it to be too thick, because if it's too thick, then the laminate is going to have a hard time sticking. So we're doing this, they're kind of like, it's basically like tape sheets, plastic sheets, and you definitely don't want them to fall apart on you because they were too thick. So just finishing that one up and putting this one here. I like that design. I didn't use all my flowers for this one. I do like putting the greens in the background. I think that looks really pretty, and I love the mulberry paper. So my next step is to show you how this lamination paper works. I'm going to cut this in half because we're going to use it as two sheets, a top sheet and a bottom sheet. And I'm going to give us, I'm going to be wasting a little bit of this, but when you get it in your kit, I suggest using as much of it as you can. So just being like, well, I'll show you, we're going to overlap a little bit and then cut just on the outside and leave a little bit of a space so that it stays together. So you'll notice that there is a kind of filmy part here, and when you peel back on it, this is sticky. So you peel that off, and the way I recommend doing it is very quickly laying it, and you can see, I don't know if you could see that, but it really wants to lift up because of static. So I'm going to lay it very quickly down on top of my bookmark, like that. And then I'm going to lift it up and flip it over. So now I can kind of press down. If you have a roller, you could roll it down, maybe with like a glass cup, you could roll it down. And I'm going to take the second sheet of paper, and this one will be a little bit harder since we cut it in half. It doesn't have that little filmy piece on the end, so you're going to have to find it yourself. It is somewhere in there. And once you peel that off, then you will lay it sticky side down so that the two sticky sides are together. Let's see, I peeled that sheet off. Careful to line that up and then give that a good rubbing down. And I would definitely, if you have like a rolling pin or like a glass cup that you could roll it over, I would roll that, get it nice, get it to stick really nice. You can use a pencil like this. And then you can see our bookmark. So what I'm going to do is cut around the edges, but I'm not going to cut right up to the white. I'm going to leave a little bit of this clear border. And that's just to kind of assure that it stays together. And like I said, the thicker it is, the harder it can be to stay together. So the only kind of little area that was a slight problem was that purple flower that had the really big pollen center that was really thick. And so we have this bookmark. The next thing you're going to do is just punch a hole in the top, and you'll have one of these tassels in here that you can add to it, and that is your flower pressed bookmark. I hope you enjoyed this craft for this month. I think pressing flowers is kind of a lost art craft, and it can be really fun. There's so many other things you can do with pressed flowers too. Last month we had those kits where we made the magnets, and it had that resin. It's called Diamond Glaze. I got it on Amazon. So if you look up Diamond Glaze, you might be able to find it. And you could actually, once these are dry, you could put them into resin, and you could use them that way too. So pressed flowers have a lot of different things. I just go on Pinterest when I find something that I'm interested in and just search it up. I've also pressed flowers in between two pieces of glass, and then I've used just a tiny glue around the sides, and we hang them in our windows. So just some other ideas. I hope you have a great start to your summer, You can come into the circulation desk at any time. We have limited supplies, but please, anybody 18 or older can come pick up a kit. And if you want to join us for our art night in this month, it is again on June 6th, Monday, June 6th from 5:30 to 6:30. All right, take care.